Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
But tell me, Eddie, is that a rabbit in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Talk Nerdy to Us. Steph is not able to make it this evening because she's on her way back home from her vacation, and she told me that she would not be making it back and by the time the stream started. So there's that. So I have Steve Kenobi to fill in for her, and this stream is brought to you by the legendary OneRing.net, who not only claims homophobia for 2 decades in the Lord of the Rings fandom, not only claims that respecting the lore is racist, but cannot do basic math at all. And Steve, you want to kind of go over why
well,
they can't do basic math?
Well, they claimed, their franchise has 19 rings. It's 20. The OneRing.net forgot about the One Ring. That's the one they forgot about, which is probably why they claim that respecting the lore is racist, because they simply didn't know the lore at all at a basic level, which you can't.
It's even if you haven't read the books, like the movies begin it with the like the three rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their hall of stone. I believe I'm remembering that correctly. 9 for the race of men doomed to die, and 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne.
Yeah, and the doomed to die thing is kind of eerie. Because if you reverse the numbers in that verse, you get 1973, the year Tolkien died.
Yes. So that is.
But
eerie.
This is actually the one thing you should know as a Tolkien fan. This is as basic as it gets, because the ring they forgot about, or maybe didn't even know about. That's the point of the whole story.
One ring to rule them all is pretty much summation of the Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings.
And that's the one they forgot about.
Which, like, you have to just put your hands up like this. Like, what? Like I said, the summation of Lord of the Rings is that Sauron created these rings to control everyone, particularly the One Ring, to rule them all. And
all they had to do was just make a reply to their own tweet and say, "Oops, made a mistake." That's it. Yeah.
People were pointing it out, and they could have just replied or quote tweeted their own tweet and said it's we forgot to add the one crucial ring.
Yeah, just laugh at yourselves, right? But you know what I think has happened to this site though, because it used to be great. When the movies were coming out, that was the site I used almost every day to get some news about the movies. But I'm pretty sure over time some people left, and probably lately they got a lot of diversity replacements, so they could score woke points, and they hired people that have no clue about what they're talking about. You probably watched the movie once, and then I'm a huge fan, right?
Yeah,
and it kind of shows, because they lately they don't even talk about Tolkien. They talk about identity politics and how this and that is racist in the Lord of the Rings, right? And the fans are racist, and so I think the site has been taken over, kind of like Lucasfilm,
Yeah,
the crazies are the ones we get to hear.
Yes, they're the ones screaming the loudest right now. But I'm going to say hello to you fine people in the chat, and then we'll go into the first topic of discussion, which we're well, might contain some spoilers, especially if you haven't read the graphic novel. But I'm going to try to not touch on them as much as possible, and that is the Batman Long Halloween Part 1 discussion. And then go into the Polygon article where they talk about soft masculinity, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean, in Lord of the Rings. And then 3, sorry, I can't count. 3, Marvel's Pride one-shot with Elektra has Elektra getting lectured by a trans woman about what constitutes womanhood, essentially. She is lectured, in a way, during battle.
Does that qualify as mansplaining?
It should. It's not, because technically, it's you just have to look. I read this article, I kind of skimmed it, and this is just too to pass up. So we're gonna go into that. And the drawing just looks juvenile. I'm like, where do they find these people now? I just can't fathom how these people graduated art school. It's not the writers, it's the illustrators.
Yeah.
It's how do you graduate art school or wherever you're going? Because I'm looking at these drawings and that is what looks like what's supposed to be in a kind of a kiddie graphic novel or a young adult kind of graphic novel, not something that's going to be bought by adults. And it's just I feel sorry for Marvel fans right now, pretty much. But from the top,
DC is getting.
DC's right up there, but Marvel started and DC's hold my beer. So from the top, Zero Fall first, also not here at work. Probably won't be back in time, so leaving a like and a comment ahead of time. Thank you so much, Zero Fall, if you're back in the chat. Appreciate it. Come on, Black Samurai, same here, except second. Greetings, Shade, and all have an awesome time. Thank you so much, Black Samurai. Ms. Martin uses looking forward to playing, I guess, a side quest tomorrow for Conan D&D. We'll see. Maybe we can go after the guy that likes to cover himself in bacon grease, so he can't be caught easily. We might be able to go after him. Yes. Bobby Campbell, Jade, where do we start? I've got a lot of infinite ammunition. I'm going to let it all out, so I'm not going to hold anything back. Well, you'll see what we have to talk about. You'll see what we have to talk about this evening. Legends of the Brave Bard. Have a great stream. I will dip in and out as my Lord of the Rings, not sure what the O is supposed to be, but Guild Raid allows. Okay.
Online.
What?
Lord of the Rings online.
Online, okay. I mean,
an MMO.
Okay.
The only one I ever played.
Last Lord of the Rings game I played was basically the adaptations of the movies, and that's when my siblings and I just had the Xbox, and you could play co-op on those games, and you basically just go through the story mode, in a sense, because you could play as any character, and I generally played as Legolas. So, Trey Courtney, what up? Good evening. Orange Chat, heyo, good evening. 750 from Open Airlock Policy. So many DC animated films. Yes, there are so many, and the current one now is Batman Long Halloween, which I thought was decent. But I'm going to hold off giving it a score because I feel Part 2 could either make or break Part 1 for me. So we'll see. So far, I'm enjoying it, but I want to see where they take Part 2 because they changed some things. They changed some elements in Part 1 from the story, if you've read the graphic novel. So I want to see where they take it. TD, hello everyone, what's up? Cue Ball, hail, good evening to you. Trey Courtney, One Ring is still dumb as fuck, good to know. Yep, they are, pretty much. Soul Assassin, respect the lore. Yes, the lore is racist, apparently, respecting it. Let's see, Russian bot General Mosley. Well, I was going to give it a chance, but these people keep wanting to burn bridges. If you're talking about One Ring, then yes. But I'm not sure. I'm assuming that you're talking about One Ring right there. The Dreamer, good evening. Diversity, aka anti-white. Yes, pretty much. She is returning home from vacation. She said she would not be back home by the time the stream started. So you get Stig Kenobi for this evening.
Yeah, sorry, but
Yo Jitsu, good evening. Hello to you. OG Star Wars, hello panel and chat. Good evening, OG Star Wars. Hopefully we can play either during the week or sorry, the chat jumped to me, or we'll see. Like a week from Sunday is gonna be difficult because that's July 4th. So we'll see. Sorry, it skipped on me. So let's see. Dreamer. Just a guess. Soft masculinity is probably something similar to internalized misogyny. Probably more like
it could be Jabba the Hutt.
Well, more. I think it's more like latent homosexuality is what they're going with that article. Let's see. Alex McCarthy, howdy, Mara and Steve. How's it going? It's going well. Played. Hopefully Steeg's day was good. I played some Resident Evil Village.
Oh yeah, my day was great. Did a book review thing on Alora's channel with her and Toriel. Mm-hmm. So that was a lot of fun.
Philip A. Demick, good evening. Talking about soft masculinity. Don't they have a blue pill for that? Yeah, they do. They do, but I guess male feminists, allies, don't believe in taking it because they have to be, I guess...
There's not enough soy in the pill.
Yeah, like they had the soy is too much for it to have any effect. Dread Saber Phil, thank you guys for content and discussion instead of porn stars and drama. Well, hopefully we entertain you. Reverend Dark, J.J. Abrams is apparently doing a Madam X show, whatever that even is. J.J. Abrams is like destroyer of franchises. He is destroyer of franchises.
Who's Madam X?
I don't know. I mean, I don't recognize the name unless it's like an allusion to another character or something. But I didn't even know he was doing it. I'd have to look it up to see what he's going to be touching on. But he's producing that new Superman film that Warner Bros. Wants to do, written by that racist Ta-Nehisi Coates, like the Black Superman one, pretty much. So like he destroys franchises. He kind of ruined Star Trek, or he started the ruination of Star Trek, and then started the ruination of Star Wars, and now he's on to DC. So yeah, destroyer franchises. Nope, sorry, jumped on me again. Lady Tariel, this should be good. Hi everyone, good evening, Lady Tariel. Yes, it should hopefully be good. Mom. At this point, I don't consider One Ring fans anymore. Fans don't try to change things; they embrace lore. Yes. Talking about the One Ring. Okay. All right. That's what I assumed, but I wanted to make sure. Marcus Henry, thank you so much for the love heart eyes. Very much appreciated. Good evening to you. So not masculinity. Yes. Resident Evil Village, you talking about? Yes, I streamed it on Twitch earlier today. I basically did an early afternoon, well, not early afternoon, but like mid-afternoon to early evening stream because I figured I wouldn't be able to play much if I waited a little bit later in the afternoon. Evening. I wouldn't be able to wait and do a long stream because I wanted to get through Lady D's castle and get through. So I finished Lady D's part, and I have to go into the other 3 houses.
They should bring her back for the sequel and call her Lady Double D.
Ira Gershwin, kudos on the Porky's theme thumbnail. That is a CJ, aka the Phantom Menace guy, created art steps in my thumbnails. So you have him to thank for that. And yes, I picked that one because it was a Porky's theme thumbnail. So happy Dinosaur, happy day to you, Mara and Steeg. Good evening to you, happy Dinosaur. I'll make sure I say hello to everyone. Stogie01, the more S cells, soy cells you have, the more feminine you are. Pretty much. How do I like Resident Evil 8? I'm enjoying it so far. I think when I was streaming it, I said like the one gripe I have is Ethan moves so slow in some parts, especially when you have to kind of run away bravely from certain things because you have to create space between you and like say like Lady D and whatever. He goes so fucking slowly. I'm like, you couldn't add something in there like a sprint function or something. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it so far. I like the gothic atmosphere to it. So that's my take on it, at least so far. Making sure I say hello to everyone. Okay, I have caught up in the chat. No, you could have Lady D. C can have Lady D.
Sure.
Yes, he can have her.
I have a big bet.
He can have her. Of course, J.J. Abrams' films suck. His company has the name Bad in it. Yes, ironic. Bad Robots. Thank you, Lethal, for an Aussie $10. Steph is looking more European and more facial hair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will have to check that out after the stream. Thank you so much, Robin Dark. Hold on. I'll put it in the chat, Marcus Henry. Hold on. What I put in the chat is my Twitch name. You might be able to find me there. Or if you follow me on Twitter, I tweeted it out earlier. So you can follow the link there. Let's see. Not everybody can't be like Super Jill from Resident Evil 3 Remake. I know, but I'm like, could have had a little bit of a sprint function. Just a little. I mean, hell, if Last of Us Part 2 can have a dedicated jump button, Resident Evil Village could have maybe a dedicated sprint function. So there's that. Roger H with a $1.99 super sticker, and I can only assume without going on to the live stream itself, it is the thumbs up, as he always put the Mark the Cyborg thumbs up. So there it is. All right. Now I've said hello to everyone in the chat. I will go into kind of like talking about, in a way, discussion about Batman The Long Halloween Part 1. And this is, I'm going to have to reread this because there's like some parts in there where I was like, that does not ring a bell. I can't remember that from the book. So I got to reread this thing. And just to give you an idea of how much Part 1 covers.
Your book is cooler than mine.
What? This is the entire Part 1 right here underneath. So,
mine has a shittier cover.
Yeah, see? This is my cover.
Yeah, way better. You win.
Yes. So, and if Lethal is still in the chat, I showed this to Lyndon because he was in my Twitch stream. But I got this. I found this while I was out.
I've been meaning to watch that one.
Yeah, I need
to
watch.
It's like an evil Crocodile Dundee, right?
Yes. I believe so. They've talked about it. But yeah, I found that. And I need to watch it, like I said. So, yep. It's the unrated version, so I have no idea what the difference is between the unrated and the
I know what it is. They drop a lot of C bombs in the unrated one, like proper Aussies.
Probably. What was I gonna say? Because this threw me off. Trying to think of what comes in and just drops boobs. So yeah. But yeah, like Soul Assassin saying it was an alright movie. I need to watch it because Lethal's talked about it, Lyndon's talked about it, and so forth. And I want to check it out and see what it's like. So, but anyway, let me share my screen before I lose my train of thought again. There it is. I found this article. Batman the Long Halloween writer wasn't nervous about changing the story. Now, I'm not going to go into this article because we're going to primarily just talk about our impressions of Batman Long Halloween Part 1. But I wanted to scroll down to where he talks about it. So before I read that section, Stieg, what are your... And I know you told me that... you gave it a 7 out of 10 for Part 1?
Solid 7. But you made a fair point though that you need to watch all the parts, right? Mm-hmm. So that may change. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but something about the ending in this one kind of, made me go. This is gonna lead to, this is gonna have ripple effects through the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. John sorry, where is it? StreamYard is acting up on me for some reason. It takes a while for me to messages to show up. Hello, good evening to you. Mo Monty, hey, what's up all? Good evening to you. Yeah, so yeah, McTaylor. So yeah, so my impression, and I like I said that we might touch on like kind of spoilery territory. I don't want to exactly go into full detailed discussion because like Steve pointed out, and before we went live, I said I don't want to give this a numerical rating right now because part 2 could either make it or break it for me. At this point, I need to see where they go with it because according to this article, the author was fine with the changes he made. He's not nervous about it whatsoever. So I'm wondering if not necessarily that I would say these changes were for the best, but maybe like they will at least make sense in the story that he's telling with this movie. And basically, so you would separate it from the graphic novel versions. Like graphic novel version would stand on its own, and then you have the movie stand on its own. So I don't know, but I'm gonna read his response, and then I will talk about I guess some things I liked, some things I was like I not iffy on, but at the same time reserved because I'm like I want to see where they go with this.
It's a bit of a bad sign though when the director says he's not worried at all about changing the story.
See, but yeah, like it's normally a bad sign, especially when we're hypersensitive with identity politics. But at the same time, so far with part 1, I'm not that worried because it's good so far. So I'm like I said, maybe the changes are at least not necessarily for the best, but at the same time make sense for what the story they're telling in this, I guess, altered version of The Long Halloween. So basically, the movie would stand on its own, and the book would stand on its own. So it depends. So basically, depending on what story or how the story is laid out that you prefer, is you could separate them in a way. Even yes, I know The Long Halloween is supposed to be an adaptation, but at the same time, it's like we'll see. Well, I'm wanting to see where he goes with it before I say, "Wow, these changes were good. I like the movie," or these changes were totally unnecessary, and I just want to stick with the graphic novel. So we'll see. Hail Tim F. Good evening to you. So that's basically like I said where I stand on it. And I do like Jensen Ackles as Batman. He did a very good voice acting job.
So it was good of them to dedicate the movie to the Catwoman voice actress who passed away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she passed away in a boating accident while saving her kid. Actually,
yeah, it was basically she was saving her saving her kid. It was like a freak drowning accident when it happened. So it was and she was only 33, I want to say, around 33. Yeah. So she wasn't that old.
Yeah. And this like a hero, though.
Yeah, this is basically her last film.
Yeah.
So there's that. Where's it? Okay, so I'm going to find a tab. Okay, so the interviewer says, I don't want to spoil anything, but you have made changes to the original story. Do you feel apprehensive changing things? And the writer says, well, no, but the only reason I say no is because we knew that if there was ever a moment where we felt like we needed to make changes to the story that they were all in order to make this work as a movie, which is a whole different thing than a comic book, which I do agree with, because some things don't adapt well from comic books to live action films. So I get that perspective that he's saying here. Now, like I said, where these changes go, I'm waiting to see what part 2 gives us. In order to tell this story in a cinematic way, when you sit down and watch it, even if it's in 2 parts, it's not playing out over the course of a year like the comic. Everything's there on the screen. You're not getting all that stuff that happened in between the panels that we often fill in for ourselves when we're reading comics, knowing that was what our guiding focus was. I never felt like we were in trouble of imposing our own sort of logic on a story that has been great for a long time. Like I said, I get that perspective because some things just do not translate well. Any change that we've made, any alteration in truncation or elevation of the small detail that maybe didn't seem so big in the book, all of that was done in service to the greater story so that we can get to the ending and feel satisfied and feel that we have given you the same experience of what you felt when you first read the book. So even if you're somebody who knows the book backwards and forwards, we're going to take you on the journey again. Hopefully you'll feel like you're experiencing the story anew and without completely rewriting and changing what Long Halloween is about. So that's why I say I didn't really have any trepidation because I felt safe. All the production team were such fans of the book, we wanted to do it justice while also knowing that it would never, I don't know what he's trying to say here. You can't just film the comic book, but that ultimately will get you there in terms of the story and what it means and what matters about it. So that's what he said.
Well, can't you though? I mean, Sin City and Watchmen and stuff like that, they just filmed the comic book, didn't they?
Essentially, but that, like, Zack Snyder, that's his approach, at least with Watchmen, because he did Watchmen. He did change like a big part of Watchmen, but his change worked better in the film than in the comic book because, again, some things just don't translate from comic to movie.
Yeah, different mediums.
Like the Trey pointing out, Watchmen changed the ending. So, and these changes in Batman Long Halloween, I don't necessarily want to say that they're minor, but in the scheme of things, they're really not that major either.
Well, one was, I think.
If you're talking about like the
one at the ending.
What?
The one at the ending was that's a big change.
Okay, so are you talking about the after credits scene or just the ending in general of the movie?
The thing on the boat and under the boat in the propeller.
Not really. I mean, like, yeah, in a way, because like a certain character wasn't there. Or certain characters weren't there, but at the same time, it's like they didn't get to change anything about the death. So I wouldn't say that's like necessarily major.
I mean, well, I can't say it because I'll spoil.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like I had to reread this comic because I flipped through and I like stopped it at the point where like the movie ends. So I have to like read through it, and I know which character you're talking about. But I remember the panel, and I don't know. I want to see, like I said, I want to see where they take part 2. Because it didn't exactly... It's not exactly minor, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily major either. It's one of those where it's like... You have to stop and think about how you feel about that scene and see where they go with it.
Yeah. When is part 2 coming out, though?
So, hold on. I'd have to look that up, but here, I'll show you the panel, Stieg. You read this, right?
Yes.
This is after he fell out of the boat.
Yes, but in the movie, you see him get chopped up.
Well, yeah, I'd assume like that blood is because he got chopped up.
Yeah.
But when is part 2 coming out? I'll go look that up. I don't know if they gave a date for that yet. But like I said, I have to reread this one.
Oh, Trey Courtney says part 2 is in July. So it's not that far off.
It says July 27th. So near the end of July. Yeah, so it's like near the end of July, so it's about a little over a month away.
How many parts will it be though? 2 or 3?
I think it's just 2, because we'll see. Because it ended on New Year's Day, so they only got they got through Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas, and New Year's and New Year's Day. So
yeah, they might skip a couple. A couple of them.
Yeah, so I'm saying like I said, like I want to see where they go. And hey, Michelle, I want to see where they go with it. Ricky for $4.99. Hey, howdy, hey, late to the party. Hope you're both doing well, Jade and Stieg. I'm doing well, Ricky. Thank you so much. Oh my god.
Picture of me in the shower. You weren't supposed to share those.
It might have leaked. I don't know. Let me see. Hold on, let me see.
Well, I could just claim it's Jason Momoa.
Yeah. Yeah, looks like it's a little less than a month away. Trying to look and see, because Trey Courtney is like, I thought it'd be a year, and I'm like, no, it doesn't make sense for it to wait a year, because they filmed it all, or maybe they filmed all the voice dialogue, like all of it, because Naya Rivera, that was her last film role technically. So, and they didn't say anything about needing to recast the role or part after she passed away. Movie Metal Rock McDonald. It's a pretty thick graphic novel, so you had to at least split it up into 2 parts. Yeah,
probably the voice acting's already been done.
Yeah.
They most likely did both parts at once, right?
Well, yeah, like it would make sense and just release them separately. So, or release them as like 2 parts.
Yeah.
I don't think 2 parts is enough to do the whole story. They'll probably have to skip some of the holidays. Yeah, because like basically, if you were, like I said earlier in the stream, if you were to just take what they showed in part 1, it covers not even really a third, or maybe a third thereabouts of the book. That's just what the part 1 covered. So we'll see. But that's what the writer said. Now, one of the changes they made, how do I put this? Because they introduced the Chinese triads.
Yeah, they replaced the Irish bombers.
And again, this is like that would be a change like this. That's touching on spoiler territory, like I said. And I'm just wondering why they went that route, because granted, I don't know much about the Chinese triads, but they never exactly struck me as people that would plant bombs. That's not their style.
Yeah, that's not
the RA. That's the RA style.
Yeah.
So again, like it's one of those where it's like, did that change really? Was that change necessary?
Not at all, because it's minor characters, and it actually makes a bit more sense that they're Irish, to be honest. But it didn't break the movie at all for me, though. But it was I kind of noticed it though, and I was kind of a little bit confused about that, about the why.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
The Long Halloween is my personal favorite Batman comic. That's pretty cool. I mean, I like Under the Red Hood. I like Death in the Family. I like the Batman Who Laughs.
Maybe it was like a pun though, the Chinese triad, and there were 3 of them.
Maybe I don't. That'd be a little too clever for them, I think. I did like Catwoman in the movie. Like her appearance was also changed.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like I think I actually prefer how she looks in the cartoon in a way over how she looked in the book.
I didn't like the art style in the book much, to be honest.
Yeah,
especially the Joker. It looked like he had 500 teeth.
Kind of, yeah. I think like for Catwoman, I mean, not that like the how her hair looked in the book was like bad, but I think like her style is more of how she looked in the movie. In terms of the character.
And they allowed her to have boobs.
Yeah, so
imagine that.
Better. Yeah, it worked better for the like in terms of like how her character is in the movie than how she was drawn in the book.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. I mean, I could see that, but I don't know how much of an appeal it would have to the Chinese market because I'm waiting, and I really don't want to jinx it. I really don't want to jinx it, but I'm waiting for some SJW to come out and complain about racism in Batman: The Long Halloween by making the Asians in that regard the bad guys. It's like, yeah, I get that, but they generally go for like the subtle way first. So if they didn't want, so like who were they going to blame in this case with the bombs necessarily? And because they were working for the Falcone family, and the blame would have gone to the Falcone family, so it wouldn't make any sense. There's like no one else really to blame in that instance. So it didn't make any sense. Like I said, like it's not necessarily their style. The style is more the subtle routes, basically, or if they want to make a point, but they didn't have any point to make with Harvey Dent necessarily.
Yeah, if they want to make a point, they tend to be brutal about it with cutting weapons.
Yes, and which is like when they try to attack Batman.
Yeah.
So, like I said, like the explosives were kind of like down the list on like what the triads would do. That's what I meant when I said it's not necessarily their style. And because like in terms of like what they do, it does not make sense to how the story is crafting itself around how they utilize the Chinese triads. Hey, Richard Greeter, good evening. And yes, the fights were good. Like the animation, like the animation style might not be for everyone, but I did not have a problem with it, and I like the voice acting, and the story is good so far. It's good so far, but again, I want to see where they take part 2 because for me, I had to have both parts together to actually give like a overall rating. And if I were to give a rating for part 1, it could change either way with part 2. So I want to see. So we have a little over a month, and then I'll be watching that and having another discussion on this. He says also the triads would not even agree to do another organization's dirty work. Yeah. Basically, the triads are kind of like the Yakuza. You don't tell them what to do. Even if you're another mob family, like they don't do that shit. They have their own territory, their own focus, and their own way of doing things. So again, it doesn't make any sense, which is why it made more sense to use Irish mobsters like IRA in the book, because they do the dirty work, basically. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, they're basically just being thugs, you know?
Yeah. So
I don't know. I thought it was a bit off, but they're not in it that much, though. So I didn't, the weirdness of it didn't linger, I guess,
I haven't really seen any follow-ups to that. Like so far, they're just talking about the Long Halloween, but if Long Halloween parts 1 and 2 are very well received, and I could see them doing Dark Victory.
So there's a sequel to the Long Halloween?
Here.
I didn't know that. You need to tell me these things. I'm a newbie.
Here you go. Telling you now. So follow up to Long Halloween Dark Victory.
Adding it to my list of stuff to get.
But yes, like I said, I haven't. Like I've seen people, Mark D mention that they would want to see them do an adaptation, but I have not seen anything from the actual writers saying we are going to go that route. I think they're waiting to see how well received Long Halloween is before they make any sort of I guess plans, for one better way of putting it. So what else is there to talk about in Long Halloween that doesn't exactly so if you haven't read the book, Gordon is not commissioner yet. He's captain. So he's not the Commissioner Gordon you know. You do see Barbara Gordon, but she's still just a kid. So that's all basically young. Because this is early in Batman's career, so you don't have the characters that like most people know yet. And I guess a nitpick I have for part 1 is, granted, I know it's early in Batman's career, and I know he's not exactly the world's greatest detective yet, but at the same time,
they even point that out. Actually, Gordon points it out
frequently, like a little too frequently, and I'm like, I get that. Like maybe like one draw, like maybe like one instance where, like, say, like Captain Gordon is telling him, like, it's like, well, you like, they basically, he's kind of like lecturing Batman when they're in Gordon's office, and like Batman's like not realizing that this is going to take some bit of detective work. So, but then at the same time, Bruce Wayne is incredibly intelligent. So while he might not have realized that they would take some detective work, at the same time, it's like, okay, you don't have to keep hammering home the point that he's new to this a little bit. He can figure it out himself. And it's just a little too much for my taste. It's a nitpick. It doesn't exactly take away from my overall enjoyment of part 1, but at the same time, I'm like, he's not an idiot. He's not a simpleton. He can figure it out on his own that I need to use this talent up here. I'm going to need to use this. He'll figure it out on his own. It's sad they keep rebooting Halloween, and Batman Hollywood is no imagination. What I want them to see them do is actually use more of the Rogues Gallery of Villains than the Warner Brothers and the like want to use in their live action or animated adaptations, because they always want to fall back on the Joker. And yes, the Joker he's one of the best villains. I would say one of the arguably best comic book villains, just both Marvel and DC. One of the best comic book villains. But him, Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman, and Two-Face, and Poison Ivy to a degree, but like those seem to always want to fall back on them. Always want to use them as the main villains.
That's right. It's always them, especially the Joker, because I've been catching up on the animated movies, and I was like, the Joker again, Yeah.
See here, right here, Soul Assassin says Batman versus Clayface. Clayface is an awesome villain. He is an awesome villain, but I also want to see Man-Bat. I want to see a better live action version of Scarecrow, because he was a MacGuffin in Batman Begins. I'm sorry. Like, come at me, bro, but like he was almost pointless in Batman Begins. What else? Mad Hatter. What else? A better Bane. A better Mr. Freeze.
Deadshot.
Well, we would have seen Deadshot in a Batman standalone that was supposed to happen after Snyder's Justice League. So, let's see. Yes, Killer Croc. better adaptation of Killer Croc than we got in Studio Squad. Azrael, yes. So many. Just about a treasure trove.
Even Ra's al Ghul, they could do a lot more with.
They could, and I enjoyed Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul, a race swap. But he was a good Ra's al Ghul. Yeah, proper live action Mr. Freeze, because as cheesily awesome as Arnold Schwarzenegger was as Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin, you don't watch that movie to see a good representation of any of those characters. You watch it just to laugh at how bad it is. Hopefully, I mean, I'm looking forward to the Batman, Matt Reeves' Batman, and hopefully we see a good, at least, origin of the Riddler, because you have Cobblepot, Oswald Cobblepot in there, who becomes Penguin. You have Selena Kyle in there, who becomes Catwoman. And you have Edward Nygma, but they changed his name, who becomes Riddler.
Isn't it interesting that the Riddler's origin is always in question?
Nice pun. But yeah, so like it's going to be an origin for those villains, and I want to see what Matt Reeves does with those, to see if he does a proper enough origin with the characters, how like you could see them as a good representation of the characters later on, because I think this is supposed to be a trilogy. I know they at least be planning on a second movie if Batman does well. Hey Hound, good evening to you. If I missed you, sorry about that. Yeah, definitely a better Scarecrow. Yeah, he was a MacGuffin in Batman Begins. You could have taken his character out, tweaked the story a little bit for the gas to be released in a way, and you still had the same story. He did not need to be there. He really did not need to be there.
Oh, he didn't.
No.
You could have had Ra's al Ghul having come up with that poison shit by himself.
Yeah, so it was like, again, they have the Rogues Gallery of Villains, and the studios just want to fall back on like the top ones that normies know. And that I get that they do that because that's what the normies know. But at the same time, it's like once you draw in the normies, give us other villains. Give us other villains. I did not watch Gotham. I get it that they had origins for these characters in Gotham, but I did not watch it. So
I liked it. I really liked Gotham. I get why DC fans wouldn't though, because it's even I could see that they were taking all kinds of liberties, right? But the girl who plays Selena Kyle looks like a young Michelle Pfeiffer. That was awesome.
Maybe at some point I will go back and watch Gotham, but it didn't really draw me in.
It starts off a bit slow, but it picks up in season 2.
Maybe I'll give it another chance. Opinion. Maybe I'll give it another chance, but Philip also loved Gotham, so there's that. Let me see. Is there anything else in this? Let's see. See if there's anything else. Okay. So here's Batman Long Halloween Part 1. Okay, so here it is. I can tell you, because this is about Masters of the Universe with the July 23rd date. But he says it's only a few short days before the Long Halloween Part 2 arrives on digital. I think Long Halloween Part 2 arrives July 27th on digital. So there's that. So anything else before we wrap this up and get into the other articles that you might want to talk about without going into too many spoilers about this movie?
No, I enjoyed it. I actually liked the art style too. So
it grew on me. There's some things where I was like, I don't know if I'm exactly wild about like how a couple of the characters looked, but at the same time, I was like, compared to what we've gotten, it's better, better than a lot of the shit that we've seen.
Oh, it's better than the live action trash we've been getting.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna stop sharing the screen. But there it is. Like I said, I didn't want to touch really on spoilers. I just wanted to give our overall impressions of it. Stig gives it a 7 out of 10 overall. So far, I'm withholding
temporary 7.
Yeah. So I'm withholding a score until, I guess, like I said, part 2 comes out, and we have part 2 in a month. So, the next Batman was intended to be a trilogy, starting with Batman Year 2. I figured it was supposed to be, but WB keeps like changing their answers sometimes. So, Trey Courtney gives it an 8 out of 10. All right, so there's that. So, all right. So, how about before we go into the Lord of the Rings discussion, because that's going to be kind of a long one, because it's Polygon. How about we talk about what Marvel's doing?
Yeah, they seem to be. They seem to be in trouble.
Yeah, Marvel's Voices. Pride one shot sees Elektra lectured on trans womanhood mid-battle by transgender immortal Hulk character Dr. Charlene McGowan.
Which is what one does in the middle of a battle. You start talking about identity politics and pronouns.
Yep. So here, yes. Oh, this gets good. This gets good. All right. In a prominent example of Marvel's current in-house storytelling standards, a story featured in the recent Marvel's Voices Pride anthology one-shot sees ninja assassin Elektra Natchios treated to a mid-battle and ham-fisted lecture on the ins and outs of transgender womanhood.
Well, to be fair, that would make her fight harder, wouldn't
it? Probably. An anthology one-shot published in honor of Pride Month. Again, they pander to these people, and then they go back to they basically once July 1st hits, they're done. Marvel's Voices Pride features a number of stories from various Marvel creators focusing on one of the House of Ideas' numerous LGBT plus characters such as Prodigy, Dakin, and Northstar. So here's this. Look at some. Oh my god. Look at that illustration. God. Like, some of it's not bad. Like the red-haired chick.
Yeah.
She's not bad.
Yeah, it doesn't look that bad.
Even the guy on the right in the black doesn't look bad at all. But this one here down at the bottom, like, what the hell?
It looks like the YouTuber General Zod.
What's with the fucking man bun?
Don't know.
All right. The aforementioned lecture occurs in the anthology's 3-page story, Something New Every Day, written by Lila Sturgis, with art by Derek Charm. Oh, he does Star Wars Adventures. That's why. It's shit. And colors by Brittany Peer, and featuring Elektra Natchios in her current guise as Daredevil. Beginning with Elektra stumbling upon the immortal Hulk's Dr. Charlene McGowan trespassing in one of Wilson Fisk's old meat and growth hormone manufacturing sites, the story then sees the femme fatale confront McGowan on their reasons for accessing the lab, only for the scientists to reveal that the individual is a transgender woman seeking to use the leftover technology, quote, to help trans women manufacture their own hormones without taking pills every day. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. Dreamer, call me old-fashioned, but I don't believe men can be women or vice versa. Well, they're not born with the necessary equipment. No matter how you change things, necessarily, they're not born with the proper equipment. So whenever a trans man is pregnant, they still have the women equipment. So it's like it's not exactly a man getting pregnant. But yeah, first the Karen trailer, now this, pretty much. So breaking the law for a good cause. Yes, still breaking the law, pretty much. Let's see. See this? Look at this. Look at this. Look at that last panel right there. What the fuck is that art style?
Probably a self-insert.
Basically, here's where she breaks in. I don't know, but look, Elektra finds this woman breaking in, and here she is. Okay, so she's accusing her, and then like down here, like the second to the last panel, this is my own private research, a way to help trans women manufacture their own hormones without taking pills every day. Trans women like me, so basically the bomb drop. So can I please have it back? No, you cannot have it back, bitch. You broke the law. However, before the two can converse any further, they are soon interrupted by Z-list rollerblading supervillain team Fast Five, who have arrived at the lab with their own accord in an attempt to steal its stash of MGH, mutant growth hormone. Where do they come up with these fucking names? Or characters?
You know what, though? There's this old, writer's rule, write what you know. Mm-hmm. And this is the only thing that's on these people's minds.
I don't know why she looks like that, Trey. At this point, is it pandering or propaganda and a degradation? I'm thinking the latter. I think it's both. It's both.
I think it's narcissism. The writer, and I put that in quotation marks, stuffing their own crap into an established franchise just to use it as a little springboard to be heard.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much, probably, but okay. So continuing on, as Elektra leaps into action, Cowan attempts to inform the members of Fast Five that the facility has been cleaned out of MGH, only to express frustration when she finds that the team's leader, Blue Streak, isn't listening to a word I say. Okay, fucking hell. Villains don't give a shit. They don't listen to you. If they did, they wouldn't be villains.
Yeah.
Seeking to sympathize, Elektra equips back to Cowan, welcome to womanhood. Okay, so yes, toxic masculinity. Welcome to womanhood. Only for the scientists to rebuff the heroine's attempts at camaraderie by lashing back. Telling a trans woman, welcome to womanhood, is actually kind of condescending. You cannot make this shit up. This is in Marvel's one-shot.
It's going to be interesting to see the sales numbers of that one.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sinister-looking kid. Yeah, transphobia is the real villain, apparently. Yes, because saying welcome to womanhood, kind of trying to have an element of camaraderie there, is condescending still. So you have to be lectured.
2 times the sudsing power means 2 times the delight. New game. Seriously clean dishes, seriously good.
Go away.
Clean dishes, imagine that.
What? Browning in the comics. I get you have to have fucking advertisements on your site, but don't automatically make them play with sound, please. Yes, you have CJ, aka the Fandom Menace guy, to thank for the thumbnail, but thank you so much, Ryan Garber. Appreciate the love for the thumbnail. So there it is. Yes, the irony. Even though I like to cook, I don't necessarily like cleaning the dishes afterwards, but I do like to cook. Anyway. And it implies that we aren't real women. No, you're not a real woman. You're not a real woman because you don't have the necessary parts. You look like a woman. We'll call you a woman, but you're not a real woman because biologically you're not one.
You don't look like women either.
Some of them don't, yes. Women until and unless you transition. Even when you do transition, you're a trans woman, meaning that you're not a real woman. You weren't born with the necessary biological parts that real women have. I'm sorry, that's the truth. That is the hard truth. You're not a real woman, concludes Cowan, eliciting a response of, I apologize, I was not aware of that from Elektra. So here it is. Here's the panel. So she says, second to last panel. Ugh, this guy isn't listening to a word I say. Ugh. I like how they put that in the... And Elektra says, welcome to womanhood. And she says, telling a trans woman welcome to womanhood is actually kind of condescending, and it implies that we aren't real women until and unless we transition. I apologize, I was not aware of that. You weren't aware of that, Elektra, because it's not a fucking fact. I hate Marvel. Another $5 Australian super chat from Lethal Lightning. Thank you so much, Lethal. Listening in while cleaning, you are my radio. Thank you.
3 comfortable sizes for an incredibly smooth fit.
Fucking hell.
The only thing stronger than us is you.
Okay. I don't want that ad to play. Oh, okay.
I'm hoping it starts playing more and more ads. Sorry.
You don't want that ad to play. You'll get kind of at the story's conclusion, a simple solution of water and industrial grade detergent concocted by Cowan puts an end to Fast Five's plans, leaving the team to be restrained by Elektra. All right. While being bound, Fast Five member Redline asks Cowan if she knows his transgender cousin, who goes by Gender Rama 1989 on social media. In response, Cowan angrily fires back, trans people don't all know each other, a-hole. She actually... Hold on. Yeah. Alright. Transgender don't all know each other, asshole. Alright. However, in the story's epilogue, Cowan is seen communicating with the very same Genderama 1989 in a friendly manner, indicative of a previous relationship in a moment that completely undermines the transgender Marvel character's previous snarky retorts. God, this illustrations are so fucking bad. All right,
this is
Yep.
I'm starting to suspect they hire really cheap artists just to save money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta figure that out. Since fucking kids, I gotta figure that out. Okay, good night, Orange Hat. Thank you so much for stopping by. Tootsies. So yeah. But look like this next to, well, not next to the last panel, but this one right here where he says like this, like shot of them in this, I guess, gay bar. Okay, Cowan is saying, you really didn't have to take me out for drinks. And Elektra is saying, it was the least I could do, Charlene. I offended you, however, inadvertently. You educated me, and I am grateful.
Look at the diversity in the background, though.
Mm-hmm. There you go. This issue ends with Bullseye impaling her with his sigh. Yep. Oh, one can only hope. One can only hope. Who talks like this? Normal people don't talk like this, Steven.
No. It's SJWs on Twitter that talk like this.
Educated me. I actually can't. Yes. I actually can't either. So, and then this next to last panel, Cowan is conversing with Gender Rama 1989. and says, Cowan says, hey, you never told me you had a cousin who was a supervillain. And then the response is, who, Redline? OMG, his name is Randy, and he's such a loser. And such is all caps to emphasize how much of a loser he is.
So yeah, that's how people talk about supervillains. You know.
You got me, Mark D. When did she go from cold-blooded assassin to worrying about offending a fucking trans woman?
Elektra was ruthless, though. She was like a Terminator.
But here she's happy that she was educated.
It's like an R-rated Black Widow, really. Yeah, this is.
Hey, Jedi Knight.
You know, well, we're not allowed to say it because respecting the lore is racist now. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, according to OneRing.net. So.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not alone.
In this case, it would be sexist. Because you can't have Elektra as we know her, because Elektra, being a straight woman, needs to be educated on what constitutes womanhood. A biological female has to be lectured on what makes a woman a woman. Let that get through your heads. I don't really follow Marvel that much. I'm more of a DC. So I don't know why she's Daredevil now, or if it's just part of this one-shot series. You'd have to ask, like, Lyndon if he knows, maybe. But I don't know personally. She might have...
Marvel's dead. If you look at the new stuff, it's just political with Marvel characters in and around it. And by the looks of it, the movies are gonna be even worse. So and the comics are dead. I mean, come on.
Yeah, go figure, Soul Assassin. Yeah, they are dead, and manga is outselling American comics.
Oh yeah, which is insane.
Yeah, not just like Marvel, but like just American comics in general.
Yeah, it's. I mean, look at all the all the classical bestsellers, right? For comics, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, all that stuff. It by default it should outsell manga stuff, just from the sheer marketing value, of the IPs, because everyone knows who Spider-Man is, right? You don't even have to be a comic fan to know it.
No, that's what I said. It's kind of like with DC falling, like with their DC, like Warner Brothers, like falling back on certain villains in the Rogues Gallery for Batman because normies know it as well. So basically, it's kind of like on Marvel's side, normies know Spider-Man.
Yeah,
so you don't need to come up with a new character necessarily because you have. It's like when they reboot franchises purely for the sake of, Hold on, I gotta figure out what's going on.
I thought it was me.
It fucking booted me. Fuck you, StreamYard. At
least it didn't boot me.
StreamYard did that earlier, where it's just like, oh my, like something went wrong. Get your shit together, StreamYard.
Well, I noticed some Marvel stuff the other day though, because I've been buying those Star Wars omnibuses, the comics, and the two that are supposed to come out. Well, one is supposed to be out in December, and then one in January. Both of them got pushed back 6 months. Don't know why, but they're being released by Marvel. So I'm wondering if it's if it's starting to really tank, right?
Maybe. I mean, they're when you have no, I'm not knocking manga when I say this, because I want to get into reading manga since I've been watching a lot of anime, and I want to read the manga series to kind of like compare what I've been reading. But when you have manga outselling Marvel and DC, that says something. That says something, especially when people are like looking at what they're getting for what Marvel and DC are selling them for. And you're not getting what you're paying for. Because you have like books that are so many pages long. I'm talking about DC and Marvel, like so many pages long, but like a third to a half of those pages are ads. We get a book like this from 2011. We get a book because we want to see like just about every page have a part of the story on it. I get maybe having like 1 or 2 ads in a comic book, but not like half of the book itself. And when you have like them like this thin, sometimes like barely, I mean, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it.
Yeah, didn't some other big comic producers over there tank and go belly up?
Yeah,
in the last few years.
And this, again, like another point is that because they're telling stories that people want to see. That's another thing that manga has over particularly DC and Marvel, and that is they're just telling stories. If you like the story, then or not, then that's subjective. But that's on whether or not you prefer the story, not getting lectured about how much of a racist or sexist you are because you don't agree with a particular opinion. People like that. People like that. They like actually reading stories and not getting lectured on sociopolitical agendas that have no place whatsoever in certain stories. Yes, I want to get into reading manga. I don't have the shelf space right now.
Basically, what it boils down to is that people want escapism. They want to read a story. That's it. They don't want a lecture, which is what they're trying to avoid by reading comics in the first place.
Maybe in the future, Soul Assassin. Right now, I want to get into reading Demon Slayer, but I need to only get up to a certain number of books because I don't want to read past the movie. And I'd have to get up through book 8. Or at least part of book 8. I watched Black Lagoon, so I can like get into that series. Because I watched it in its entirety. I'm watching Claymore now. I'm watching Fate Zero now, but I don't think that's a manga. I don't think. I don't know. And I'm watching Attack on Titan. And Attack on Titan, I want to wait until like that's completely done before I get into that manga. So, and I want to watch Berserk as well. There's so many fucking ones I want to watch and I need to get into, and I need to find the time to actually start binging them. No, $5 super chat from the Dreamer. Thank you so much. All this SJW nonsense is annoying as hell, but thanks for covering it and bringing some reason into the conversation. Well, you're welcome, the Dreamer. Much appreciated for the super chat. And yes, it is annoying as hell, and we're going to cover it because we have to get this out there to people because it's one of those things where it's like you're annoyed that it's happening, but like a small part of you still kind of wants to save what you grew up with, even though you know it's pretty much dead.
Yeah,
that's why I checked out. I ended up checking out Star Wars, and that's for that reason.
It's what I've been saying for a while that when it comes to Star Wars, but it now applies to Marvel as well. Disney has been blurring the line between nostalgia and necrophilia.
Yeah, pretty much. And it looks like DC and Marvel is getting to that point as well. So
yeah, DC is just lagging behind a bit, but it's
just a bit.
You can see the track they're on.
Yeah.
And they hired Zoe Quinn, didn't they?
So, Fate Zero is going to make you want to watch Fate Stay Night. Unlimited Blade works too. It's getting there. I had to watch the episode that we'll be talking about on Monday. But I'm liking the series. There's like a part that I did not like subjectively in the last episode, but objectively very good series. So there it is. But yep, those are the panels. Basically, that's so. I mean, I don't know what other stories are in this, but basically, this is. And here's the Fast Five members. Look at that. Right there.
Is
Blue
that the
screen.
Power Rangers? Power Rangers on rollerblades? That's what it looks like, kind of.
It kind of does. It kind of looks like they got like generic versions of the Power Rangers comics, or like costumes, I should say, and just like added rollerblades.
Why are they wearing breath masks?
I have no idea.
Is it because of COVID?
Because like 4 of them are wearing it, and this guy over here in the green isn't wearing one. So I don't know. And the white, and I guess that's a gold or a yellow or whatever, can't tell with that coloring, are wearing, they don't have a breathing apparatus like what the blue and the red does. So I don't know what's going on.
It's probably up their ass.
Probably that's just about a guarantee. Just about a guarantee. So, but yep, there's that story from Marvel's Voices of Pride #1. Doesn't it just make you want to go out and buy it?
You know what? If I had been part of the LGBTQ community, I'd be insulted by this. Because if that's the representation they get, it's at zero. There's no effort. There's no talent being invested in it. I mean, it's possible to write a great character that happens to be gay or whatever. I mean, I've been watching Black Sails, the pirate show. It's awesome. Guess what? The main character is gay. He's the best character on the show.
You about the character or the actor?
The character.
Character? Okay, I have not watched it because I wasn't sure.
I'd give that show a 9 out of 10.
So there you go.
Yeah.
And like Batwoman, before the CW ruined a good lesbian character, she's a lesbian. Batwoman is a lesbian, but that wasn't her defining characteristic for the character. But guess what? People didn't care because she was a good character.
Would you agree if I said it's not necessarily the message that's the problem, it's the shitty delivery?
What do you mean by the message?
The social justice, whatever.
Well, yeah, social justice in itself is not bad. Like in itself, before it progressed to this level, wasn't bad because who doesn't want to exactly fight, like seek justice for, I guess, for by way of putting it, the downtrodden. Like who doesn't exactly want to do that? Like you basically help people, but it's morphed into not social justice. It's anything but social justice because it's complaining about first world problems with imaginary boogeyman.
And
it's not social justice anymore.
Yeah, they're actually being bullies about it, which is not heroic at all, is it?
No, it's it's fighting for rights for people that already have those rights in a way. The only one that I would say, like, at least that was something that like was recently fought for, and that was marriage rights for LGBT community, or at least the gay community. Now, whether or not you believe in that, subjectively, depending on how religious you are necessarily or whatever, I'm not saying anything political to that regard. I'm saying, but that was something that was recently fought for by that community because they did not have that. Up until that point, they had what were called kind of like civil unions. And they didn't have the same rights, marriage rights, as straight couples had. So that was something they fought for recently. But other things, shit that they're fighting for, it's like, you have that. It's like you have.
A lot of European countries have had it for decades.
Mm-hmm.
So it's completely irrelevant.
Pretty much.
For us.
Well, for you, yes. But like I'm saying, like that was like something recent that I could think of where they actually did fight for something that they didn't have necessarily. Now, whether or not you agreed with it is another topic of discussion entirely. But at the same time, that's something that they fought for.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have it.
Yeah, most likely we only live once. So who am I to tell who two people can, choose to live with?
Which is, in a way, like I said, I understand it because they didn't have the same benefits, so to speak, as like a straight couple would have, who are married, and let's say a spouse of the straight couple died and they had children. Well, the surviving spouse would get the children, obviously. But with a gay couple, up until the marriage, up until they like earned the like basically right to marry, if a spouse in the civil union passed away, then the children would not stay with the surviving spouse necessarily. They would go to like the family members of the deceased spouse, I believe. So basically, like the surviving spouse would almost essentially lose rights to the children they adopted.
Yeah, which is fucked up.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said, like that was a legitimate, I guess, social justice fight.
Yes.
Pretty much.
And you don't have to you don't have to fuck up Batman and Spider-Man to deliver that message. No, you could have Batman and Spider-Man help someone that's in that situation.
Mm-hmm. And what is going on with Marvel now? Well, what's going on with Marvel now is that Elektra is getting lectured on what constitutes womanhood by a transgender woman character. And their pride.
A lecture.
Yes, a lecture. Literally, like a lecture. And having Elektra at the end of the one-shot story thanking that transgender character for educating me.
Of all the characters to lecture, though, they pick Elektra. This
is all I can do, really, right now.
If someone lectured Deadpool, it would actually make a little more sense because of his character, right? Because he just says stuff.
He's the merc with the mouth, pretty much. So
yeah. If it was him, it wouldn't be so bad. But it would be bad, but it wouldn't be that bad, right?
Yeah, it would be funny because the merc with the mouth would have a retort, basically. Yeah, that it would make it funny. Not necessarily good, but like still funny, kind of like.
Yeah, stop lecturing me. You're making me hard.
Something like that, like you would find a way to inject humor into it. So, but there's that. So there is that. So basically, Marvel again is hell bent on flushing their years of character buildup and lore essentially down the toilets with the activists they are hiring to write their they're comics now. These aren't storytellers. These are activists.
Yeah.
And they have to insert themselves into the story.
And they got hired because of their political leanings. They were not hired because of their talent. Obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, she would have killed the person lecturing her, pretty much. So, there it is.
She should have said, "You'll never sigh that to me again." And
then, not quite.
Or stabbed them in the face and said, "I get the point, so did you."
That would work better. Not the sigh one, but that one works better. All right, folks. Now we're coming kind of to the end. So let's move on to Lord of the Rings, shall we?
Yeah. And the joy it has become.
And of course, it's Polygon.
Oh, yeah.
Lord of the Rings revived soft masculinity with Boromir's tender death.
It wasn't tender, it was brutal.
Let that sink in, folks. Boromir, impaled by 3 big arrows while fighting off Uruk-hai, trying to protect Merry and Pippin, and sitting there in agony, or lying there in agony, until he finally passed away, was a tender death. Now, it was a tender moment between him and Aragorn, and when I say tender moment, I mean brotherly moment. But it wasn't a tender death.
Yeah.
And hey, Robot Shlomo, yes, he's on. He's a replacement for Minority Home.
Yeah, I'm everything I do, I dedicate to Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
Even the bad things.
Yeah.
So if I say something that offends people, you can blame Stephanie.
There you go.
You know what, though? Aragorn has a tender moment with his horse, too.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean bestiality is fine? Because that's pretty much what they're saying.
Yeah, you're talking about Brago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Yeah, but tender moments. Tender
death. Brago kind of kisses him almost when he's...
Yeah, to wake him up.
Yeah. It's like a loving wake-up kiss.
It is alive. You did talk about this, Rhino. You did. And
did he drop F-bombs? I bet you did.
He was drunk. He was drunk. How Peter Jackson's trilogy sold a brotherly kiss to an audience allergic to male intimacy. So yes, and we if you've seen The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, you know this moment where Boromir is slain in battle. He has 3 arrows to his impaled in him. Aragorn helps Boromir bring his sword to his chest so he could have a warrior's death. He was slain in battle.
Like, could you please blow my horn before I pass away?
Oh, God. And then in an intimately framed shot, he cradles his fallen companion's face and kisses his brow. Brotherly kiss. Because, as Lyndon pointed out, as you weren't even coherent, Raging Rhino. No one remembers what you said. And I'm surprised you're even up. But Boromir says, I would have followed you into battle. As he says, my brother, my captain, my king. He's acknowledging Aragorn as king at that moment. A title that, in a way, almost sickened Boromir because he did not want to acknowledge Aragorn as king because Boromir's father is acting as steward of Gondor, which is where Aragorn is rightful king, king of Gondor. So, but they're framing it as like male intimacy.
Who's the retard who wrote this?
Zev Shevat.
Well, he can shove it up his ass.
Yes. Let's see. Okay, this person even points out the first time I saw the scene in an enraptured midnight premiere audience, I remembered my surprise that no one laughed or quipped in embarrassment because people. This is not an audience allergic to this shit. They didn't care. They were entranced in the moment because it was good storytelling. It wasn't
followed the book.
Yeah, it wasn't like shock at, oh my god, there's male intimacy on screen. No. It would have been easy following the lead of other early 2000s blockbusters for Lord of the Rings trilogy to have catered to the times and taken a turn for the self-aware, self-embarrassed, and glancingly too overtly homophobic. Fucking no. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna open this in a new tab because I want to see what information this gives on this Shavat.
Shove it. That's the correct pronunciation.
Well, it looks like this is his first article, so I'd have to look it up to see because when I clicked on his name, he only has one post, and that's this article here.
That's what he starts out with. Wow. Yeah. And someone greenlit this.
Yes. This is his first post, ladies and gentlemen. This is his first post, which tells me that 20 years ago, like, who's he to speak on about the early movies in the early 2000s and how they were like self-aware, take a turn for the self-aware, self-embarrassed, and glancingly too overtly homophobic blockbusters of the 2000s.
You know what, though? Stuff like that, someone kissing someone's forehead, you see it in almost every match in the Euros when someone scores a goal. You know, the teammates run over, lift him, hug him, kiss the forehead, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or how about this? How about the Godfather trilogy?
Yeah.
I mean, was that male intimacy when they would kiss, but it was more like, hey, I'm gonna off you?
Yeah.
Was that male intimacy?
Apparently.
According to Google, Zev Shevitz is an award-winning animation director and visual development artist.
What kind of award was it, though? Dumbest artist?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm saying, like, Michael kissed Fredo. Like I said, like, it's like, is that male intimacy? I mean, they're brothers. Yeah, like, they're brothers. But, like, he kisses him. And that was you're going to die, Fredo.
Well, look at Rocky 3. The beach scene. Rocky and Apollo jumping around, being all buddy in the surf.
Oh, he's blocked on Twitter too. Oh, God. Yeah. Kiss of death. Pretty much the kiss of death. I think you just inspired a new article on Michael Corleone kissing Fredo. Probably. A lot of European cultures kiss to say hello and goodbye. I'm half Middle Eastern, and we don't exactly kiss, but males, guys, will greet each other by touching cheeks, like kind of like how the French kiss both cheeks. They touch both cheeks.
We just stare at each other grimly or give a handshake.
Yeah.
We don't even kiss women. We just look at them.
I believe that. Coming from you.
I know 3 pet names now, though, so I'm getting better.
Drawing on a potent mix of Arthurian legend, Tolkien biography, and on-screen mannerisms of the golden age of Hollywood, the filmmakers crafted one of the most heart-wrenching moments in the Lord of the Rings series. I fucking hate this article with a passion right now.
They didn't craft it. They just followed the book.
The fucking book.
Yeah. Tolkien crafted it.
I was like, where the fuck is he getting this shit? Dreamer for $5. Hey, evil can pervert what has been created but cannot itself create. Tolkien. Yes, now more than ever it seems it will probably get much worse. Thank you for the $5 to the Dreamer, and yes.
This is the perfect quote for 2021, really.
Hey, Killy. Yeah. 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 Exactly, Trey. What an ass clown. He's giving credit to the filmmakers as if they crafted this scene by taking inspiration from multiple sources when it's just the fucking one source that was crafted by Tolkien himself.
Yeah. It's not gay if he's dying.
Yes. It's a brotherly kiss. It's basically fucking hell. Because Aragorn does that, then touches his, puts his forehead and touches his foreheads and says like, "Be at peace."
Yeah.
Be at peace because Boromir died. Seeking what's it? Not absolution, but forgiveness.
He kind of kisses his forehead like a father would kiss a son, really.
Yeah, because again, Boromir is dying, and Boromir is seeking forgiveness because even though Boromir, as you pointed out, is the stronger of the two characters in this instance, because Boromir, yes, he succumbed to the ring's power, but he broke free of it. He broke free of it, which showed that he has incredible inner strength. But at the same time, he asked Aragorn for forgiveness because that's why he sacrificed himself to save Merry and Pippin, because he was seeking redemption for what he did.
Doesn't Lando kiss Nyan Numb when they blow up the Death Star and they make it out alive? I thought he did kiss him on the cheek while cheering.
I don't think so, but I'd have to go back and watch that part. It's a chase kiss, yes. Yes, Nick McCabe. It's a chase kiss. There's nothing sexual about it. Nothing sexual about it. So, Gandalf fighting the Balrog, the Ride of Rohan, Sam saving Frodo from the spider, all not as important according to the idiot. Nope.
Or Eowyn with her, dying father.
Mm-hmm. Or uncle, you should say.
Yeah, uncle.
Dead.
Yeah.
Sounds like he desperately wants Aragorn and Boromir to get it on. Yeah.
Yep. He wants them to go there in the back again.
Yep. Let's see. Where else?
Which is shortcut to mushroom tips.
Yeah. I don't want to go entirely into this article, but this one, while there are many reasons for this shifts in masculine representation coming out of the 20th century, one seems the most glaring and obvious. A shadow and a threat to the mainstream has been growing in Hollywood's mind for decades: homosexuality.
Why? Didn't Tom Hanks win an Oscar for playing a gay man in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Yeah, so nobody complained about that.
Sean Penn played Harvey Milk.
Yeah, and Robin Williams played a gay guy in
The Birdcage.
Yeah.
Alongside an actual gay man, Nathan Lane.
Yeah. I don't remember any outcry of that.
No. Nope. And then he goes down here. The box office topping action movies from the years around Fellowship's release, including the first installment of Fast and Furious, the first of the Raimi Spider-Man films, and The Mummy Returns, give an overview of how adult masculinity existed in the popular consciousness. Masculinity meant male heroism and the heroism of a solitary man. Did they watch any of these fucking movies?
As if the Mummy Returns, that one had Rachel Weisz kicked ass in that one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did he actually watch any of these movies?
I think he watched it with a certain type of glasses on, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Raimi Spider-Man films. Well, it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man essentially works alone. Like, he's not Spider-Boy like in the MCU, relying on Tony Stark.
What about the X-Men movies? That had a bunch of females.
Well, but not just females, but like, it's not like the solitary male hero.
Yeah.
It's not. So like, where is he getting this concept that like that's what constituted male heroism? Like or what constituted masculinity? Like where?
Yeah, I mean, Schindler's List.
Yes, as Alan Turing. Yes, he was gay.
Schindler's List. That's male heroism, but it's not action packed.
No. Yeah, so what he's calling soft masculinity is really just gay lust. Yeah, he's basically seeing in a tender moment between comrades what he wants to see. That's what he's saying. He's basically inserting a narrative where none exists.
Which is, you know what? He's probably the sort of person that if you actually give him a hug, he's going to start stalking you because he thinks it means a lot more.
They've already gone after the 300 in a way, but not for this reason, Soul Assassin. But they did start going after the 300. Shameless plug, I did a video on it. Yeah, so they did start going after 300. Let's see, moving on. On its surface, the Lord of the Rings trilogy seems to fit the picture of what could sell to an early 2000s audience. It's what could sell because there was actually an audience built on the fucking books.
Yeah, a worldwide audience.
Not through the prism of just an early 2000s audience. It was an audience, like I said, a worldwide audience of fans of Tolkien's work who are now getting a live-action adaptation of that work.
Yeah, and it was they couldn't do it justice until then because they didn't have the good enough technology.
And here it says, in contrast to the fairy tale meandering of the Hobbits, I don't know if he's referring to the trilogy or the book, but guess fucking what, Zev? The Hobbit was basically a bedtime story for his children. It started on him writing it on the back of grading an exam.
Yeah, it actually is a fairy tale, really.
Yes. The Lord of the Rings series is very much a war story. Yes. Oh my fucking god.
Why is he bashing something that has fairy in it?
I don't know. And war stories are traditionally full of the camaraderie and rivalries of men. You're missing the fucking point of the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and back in those days, only men were allowed to fight, usually by law.
Yeah. And while Tolkien hated allegory, he despised it with a passion. You cannot exactly deny that there is historical inspiration with Lord of the Rings. And guess where the historical inspiration comes from? World War II. Just like The Hobbit takes historical inspiration from World War I and Tolkien's experiences fighting in the Great War. So guess fucking what, Zev? It's going to be a quote-unquote war story because it's a battle with saving Middle-earth from falling into darkness again with Sauron getting the One Ring.
Yeah. All he has to do, though, is look at World War II pictures and look at the soldiers because they're always dirty, which means there were no women in the army to clean their clothes.
Fucking hell.
Evidence 101.
Base Lord of the Rings after his time in World War I. Yes, he did base it off after his time in World War I. Because, like, The Hobbit, if you think of the Battle of the Five Armies and some of the themes in The Hobbit, it is, you can see correlation between that and World War I.
Oh, yeah.
You can see correlation in a way between Lord of the Rings and World War II. For example, how with The Hobbit, it was not war. It's not necessarily war itself is unnecessary, but like basically how World War I started, as and how I should say the Battle of Five Armies progressed, like how it was pointless. Like it did not need World War I did not need to transpire. If you think about like what actually started World War I, they were just itching for a reason to go to war. It's kind of like the Battle of the Five Armies. They were just itching for a reason to go to war, and in the Battle of the Five Armies, it was to get the gold from the Misty Mountains, the Lonely Mountain.
I think in the Lord of the Rings, the one thing from World War I that he put in was the dead marshes with the dead faces in the water. That's stuff he saw during World War I believe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, but when he gets to Lord of the Rings, and yes, that is World War I inspiration. A theme that you could connect to World War II, and that is sometimes good men have to fight evil. Good men had to stand up to Hitler.
Yeah. Well, in The Hobbit, it's basically people killing each other for wealth.
Which is, like I said, the countries in World War I were just itching to fight. They were itching to fight. They just needed one reason, and it took assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand to propel them into a needless war. And yes, like I said, Sam, Tolkien's despised allegory. Like I said, it's not allegory necessarily, but you can see correlations.
Yeah.
Certain historical events that he brought in to the books.
Yeah, Tolkien specifically said it was not to be preachy.
Mm-hmm.
His goal was to create kind of like a mythology for England.
Yeah.
And
well, like I said, I'm not going to go into this article. It's just stupid. Basically, the guy wanted to start what he wanted to see.
Yeah, and he's clueless about a lot of details too, which would actually, if he had the basic knowledge of it, that would debunk half the article.
Whatever he thinks what Two Towers means, I shudder to think. But there it is. Like I said, I didn't want to really go into that article because we could dedicate a whole stream to ripping it apart. But that's where the Lord of the Rings fandom finds itself now, is that you now have these SJWs setting their sights on Lord of the Rings, and you have that starting with the Amazon series, and how I'm really have real trepidation with that.
Which is why everyone who's a Tolkien fan should start fighting back.
Yes. So there is. I'm not going to let them take away that. I mean, I checked out of Star Wars, but Tolkien is what got me into fantasy to begin with, and I'm not going to let them take that away from me. So that's just my stance on it. But like I said, I'm seeing this starting to happen because now they're putting their sights on an untouched fandom because the Tolkien estate would step in and put the kibosh on it immediately if they at all sense any deviation from Tolkien's works. But now with Christopher Tolkien passed away, you have the current generation they can't sell the rights fast enough, it looks like.
Yeah, and as a side note, that they're also doing the same to the Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. Yeah. Which is, I guess, as close as anyone has come to, reaching Tolkien's level of detail in terms of world building. I'd say George Martin will probably be up there if he finishes the stuff he's doing, but he probably won't. But Robert Jordan is as close as anyone has come so far, and they've already destroyed that one before it's even out because they race swapped probably 60% of the cast.
Yeah,
and it does not make any sense within that world at all. So a lot of fantasy series are on the chopping block. They already fucked up the Shannara series with Terry Brooks by turning it into a I don't know, I guess Riverdale with elves, Yeah. So this stuff is spreading, and it's not just Tolkien though. It really isn't. It's a bunch of other shows or fantasy series as well. And we all know D&D has gone to hell. And they're planning a D&D movie or a TV show and guess how woke that will be.
I shudder to think how woke it'll be, but I'm gonna start wrapping it up here. I want to thank Stieg for stepping in for My Nerdy Home, which she'll be back next week. It should be on her channel, but I need to talk to her to see what she wants to do.
Soul Assassin says, I heard the Conan series has the original writer in charge. The guy who wrote Conan died in 1930, so I don't think so. I really don't. It could be one of the Biden voters, though. Who knows?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Popo. Thank you so much for leaving the like. Yeah, so, but there's that. Like, basically, we just, on one hand, I'm against gatekeeping, but on the other hand, you have to gatekeep in a way so what you love doesn't get destroyed. And we saw what happened with Star Wars. We saw what happened with Star Trek, and we're seeing what's starting to happen with Lord of the Rings. And it's like you have to basically draw a line somewhere, and Lord of the Rings is where I draw the line. Like, I checked out of Star Wars, but nope, not letting them touch Tolkien. But again, like I said, I'm wrapping it up here. I want to thank Stieg for stepping in for My Nerdy Home. I know you don't like people finding you on your channel necessarily, but let everybody know what you have maybe coming up on, I guess, other people's channels or anything like that.
I don't think I have anything next week, to be honest, because Alora, OG Star Wars, is going on a vacation, so there's not going to be any coffee chat on Thursday. I'm not sure about Monday, though, for the Game of Thrones thing with Sporking, because I'm not sure if he's back from the holiday yet. So yeah, I think unless someone asks me on somewhere when I'm awake, then I'm gonna have a week off, which is gonna be quite okay.
There you go. There you go.
Maybe Wednesday with you. I don't know.
Yeah, like I'm trying to do it like as a regular stream, the Cringe Factory. So we'll see what news. I'm sure there's going to be some cringe. There's always cringe during the week, but we'll see like what cringe there is to talk about on Wednesday. So, and I might have also Geek Blend on because I invited him as well, so he might be on for the Wednesday stream if his schedule allows him to. So,
yeah, so he's absolutely a good guy. Yeah, Geek Blend. Yeah. He's a lot of fun to talk to.
Oh yeah, and I want to get his take on the Long Halloween, so I might talk about it again with him Wednesday if he can come on, just to get his perspective on it, since he's kind of he's like Lethal and me and Steph in a way, and like we love DC and we love Batman, so I want to see like his take on it.
Yeah. Oh, and just to chime in on that, I've been getting into the DC stuff a bit. And I've been asking, Mara, Stephanie, and Lethal about, what kind of stuff to read and all that. And so far, I've only gotten great advice. So they know what they're talking about.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome for that. So for me, coming up, like I said, I'm going to try to do Wednesday Night Cringe Factory as like a regular stream, and that typically is around 8 p.m. Eastern my time. You can also find me on Mark the Cyborg's channel. We're talking currently about an anime series called Fate Zero. We're going... this one will be one episode we'll be talking about, but it's an anime that I have not seen, so I will not have seen anything past this episode that we're talking about, which is episode 4 of season 2. So if you've seen it, please no spoilers. Lethal and I and Mark have not seen it the entirety, so we don't know anything coming up. Let's see. And I try to stream on Twitch every Friday. I wasn't able to do it this past Friday, but this coming Friday, I'm going to try to do it a bit earlier, maybe around 9 p.m. or so my time Eastern, so I can get like a longer stream in playing Resident Evil Village, and maybe depending on if I am part of the G&G stream Thursday, which I don't think I will be, the Fortnite stream at 7, I might stream also Witcher 3 that day on Twitch. So if you follow me there, I'll try to be playing some Witcher 3 Thursday, and then Resident Evil Village Friday evening. And then the following Saturday will be Talk Nerdy to Us again, 10 p.m. Eastern, either on my channel again or Steph's. I need to talk to her to see what she wants to do. She's currently returning home, I believe, from her vacation. So I will try to talk to her tomorrow to get an idea. And that's about it. So, in any videos I try to get out, depending on what news there is to talk about. So, I will say this. I will be starting kind of a summer schedule. Maybe next week. I don't know for sure. I'm waiting for the school district to get back to me. And if that happens, I will try to film videos the day before and release them the day after. So, yes, it is a hell of a schedule I have right now. So, I'm getting...
sorry.
Oh, what?
Well, when this stream is over, go to Open Airlock.
Oh, yes, I was going to say, yes. His stream in about 12:15 a.m. Eastern is Fall of Night. And I tweeted that out on Twitter. So let me see if I can just, hold on. I'll copy the link here, and I will post it here. So this is his stream that'll be coming up after mine, so tune in for that. Fall of Night. You'll have OG Star Wars, I believe, and a hungover Raging Rhino who will not remember at all anything that he talked about during the full Aussie, apparently. So tune in for that. It should be fun. Again, thank you all for stopping by. Thank you for everyone who sent super chats and for everyone who participated in the chat. Much appreciated. Thank you again to Stieg. And you heard my schedule. It's going to be a busy week. I'll try to get videos out as much as possible. No promises, though, because of my schedule. But until then, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. But again, thank you, everyone. And I will see you all later. So good night.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.